Okay. I believe we're recording. Dustin's head looks like it's got snow on it.
You stole some of the invisible hair dye finally. Somebody used it.
Yep.
Who would like to give a recap?
It's been so long.
So we
made Kip go forward first.
Yeah.
Thinking that I'd die, you know.
Right. Well, we were in the caves, and then we used the whatever that totem of recall is to get back to the Eldine Reaches. And then we saw that we went traveling towards the World Tree when we saw that there was an army of aliens in front of us. It was decided that we should use someone as a distraction to draw them away, to create a hole that we could then stealth our way through so we didn't have to fight the whole army. And we decided that distraction would be Kip, who unfortunately also decided to take Sonny with him. So he and Sonny charged down straight into them, immediately using some special ability that would not let them disperse and come to him, so that they could then create a hole so we could stealth our way through without having to engage the whole army. Instead, as we stealthed our way down, half of them couldn't get any closer to him, turned and focused on us. We then proceeded to whole army anyway. In the course of that fight, Marthal had a wild surge that wound up turning about half of them, all of the dead creatures, into undead monstrosities under his control, which turned the tide of the battle as suddenly outnumbered their forces. Bob tried to use his limited number of arrows of Delkir slaying to kill this queen that was hanging out in the back, not advancing on us, but she immediately disappeared or became invisible. It's unclear to me which actually happened, but vanished from our sight. We then had more or less mopped up what was left of the aliens who were opposed to us, and still for a very brief period had the an army of undead aliens under Marthal's control.
I do believe that they are still briefly under my control, even at the beginning of this session.
We got like 30 seconds, maybe.
Yeah, or a minute.
So,
One thing worth noting is that we started with Narboil, the talking scroll, who was speaking in an old form of Draconic, and we were able to teach it Common, our mortal language, and that's when we learned that we were the chosen ones. And that's when we got super powered up so that we could actually fight that army. Because those things kicked our ass in every other encounter that we...
Yeah.
You were the chosen one, Annie. Wait, that's wrong franchise.
You're on a mission from God. All right. So as we open up with this current session, I'm gonna share the screen. Let's see if I share the right one. This is the right one. All right. So before you, there are the slain enemies of your, as well as the numerous ones that had been raised. Many of them are have broken limbs, busted carapaces. Some of their skulls have been crushed in, but still they are animated with undead life, granted through Marthal's surge of chaos magic. As they encounter the still remaining living forces of these abominations, the undead and the living tear into each other viciously, spraying acid in pools upon the ground, causing steam to rise and creating numerous craters gaping into the earth. After a few moments, there's a stillness as the undead legion that is commanded by Marthau seems to overcome the remaining forces. Several of the flyers had these undead creatures jump upon them and begin gouging out their carapaces and ripping their wings, causing them to plummet to the ground, causing sliding craters, and the remaining forces are just decimated. After that, Martha, do you mind if I take a couple liberties with the creatures?
Sure, as long as you get paid for them.
So at that point, the queen alien returns and becomes visible. It is much closer than it was before, and
Shoot the bitch.
it's gonna appear right here. Layer. Okay. So it appears there. As it appears, Marthau sends the legion of creatures after this giant queen.
Queen?
Huh?
Where's the queen?
Might be off your
In the
screen.
mushrooms.
Closer to the top of the map.
Oh, this thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now, once they get close, probably to about this far, there's just all you see are blurs of motion. The queen is moving so quickly and also using some kind of magic to teleport through shadows, and it appears in front of each of the undead creations in turn, slashing them and crushing them, tearing them to pieces, and completely immune to the acid blood that they spray, with it just dripping off of her while it then steams into the ground. And eventually there's just the undead carcasses surrounding her. And at that moment, she begins to take on a crouching position, her tail brought forward in a readiness position to strike and inviting you to come. And at that point, we'll roll initiative.
Bitch.
Oh shit, I forgot to open a dice roller.
How does initiative work with what's name points, with vitality points? Do I get disadvantage?
You wouldn't have, well, it's an ability check, and you have disadvantage on ability checks, right?
Yeah.
Because you have 2 levels of exhaustion right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be a disadvantage then.
All right.
I like those odds.
Oh. Hopefully this is my own.
I'm trying to figure out a good way of positioning on this garbage. No, that's not good. There we go. Okay. Sorry. So many things going on. Where's the chat? You guys put it in the chat?
Yeah.
Getting there.
There's the chat. Okay. All right, so we have oh, you guys have rolled really well. So we got Omerta. And then we got Colmar. And then Bob. Martha. Kip. All right, Omerta's on deck, Colmar, and the whole, or Omerta's up, Colmar on deck, and then Bob is in the hole.
Can you post is initiative order and yeah? Can you post the initiative order?
Yeah, I'm gonna hide the Queen's initiative order for now, but I'll post your guys's. Oh, I'm missing someone. Who am I missing? Bob, Martha, Kip, Omerta. We only got 5 people tonight. Am I miscounting? I'm counting myself. Okay, so that's the initiative order.
Okay. So let's see here. I think I have a spirit weapon or something. What's going on there? What's on top of me? I don't know what that is.
Did have a spirit weapon from the last fight.
No, that's not the spirit weapon. That's your dancing sword.
That's right. That's what it was. I was like, yeah. Okay. Can I move it? I cannot. Oh yeah, I can. There we go. I'm gonna. So yeah, what I will do is, I'm gonna deactivate my boots of speed because I don't want to use up all of my time with them, even though I've got 10 minutes and it's only been like 30 seconds, but even still, I don't need to run at this thing. My sword, however, has got a tremendous range, so I shall have it fly up to the fucker. Actually, before that, I'll say fuego, and it'll light on fire. And then I will send it after the queen bitch, I guess, for a couple of attacks.
Queen bitch. Is she an MLM leader?
Well, the second attack's probably not going to hit, but the first one will be a 21 to hit.
That hits.
Delightful. Excuse me. See all the shit I can do with this thing.
Yeah, guys, I know you guys have a lot of new abilities, so do try to plan out what you're going to be doing before your turn. I know, Merita, you just learned when you're going, so.
Yeah. Alrighty, so. Alright. So, weapon. 6, 10, 12. So 12 regular, or not regular damage, but damage from the weapon, and then the fire will be also 12. So 24 damage. Or wait, does this thing do more different kind of damage against the things? I forget.
So it's vulnerable to damage if it's a Biesh weapon, if it's one of the legendary weapons.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So that would have been, that's 24 doubled, I guess.
So then 48 damage. All right. Is there anything else that you're doing?
No, I just took a step forward is all, so I don't want to go too far. And this thing, I think it can move. My sword can move pretty far, so it can move to it and back. Looks like so.
All right. So it's moving to the creature and then backing away.
Yeah. So it moves up. Swings once, misses, then pierces through it, and once, and then returns to me, and this is floating around me.
Okay. So your sword flashes out and causes 2 strikes cleanly against the creature, drawing some acidic blood. The queen almost doesn't even react to it, though. It just is continuing to stare you down, inviting you to come at it. But then it raises one of its massive claws, and suddenly something giant begins erupting from the earth and displacing a whole lot of ground. You almost believe that they're giant trees sprouting, but then as you get a closer look, you realize that they're in fact giant mushrooms. Now let me try.
Like those mushrooms that are there.
Well, you guys are gonna see. Where's the?
Oh, what the fuck?
The McFuck.
That's a different. Yeah. All right.
Why is it?
I thought you said giant mushrooms, not.
Great as to hell.
No, they are mushrooms. So the solid parts. Here, let me make sure that it looks
stalk
on yours. So that's the stalk, and then the part that's kind of around it, that kind of is blending into the background. Those are the mushroom heads. And as that happens, the entire area below those mushrooms is enshrouded in shadow, and you notice that the queen begins to kind of almost like a mirage seems to fade away and melt into the darkness. And so now, I'm sorry that this takes it's so dumb. So,
Damn. Wish I had that light stuff.
all right. And then with that, it is Polmar up, Bob on deck, Martha out in the hole.
All right.
And all that time preparing what I was going to do, now I have to change it because I don't know where she is.
Yeah.
Might I have an idea, because I have advantage on perception to notice disguise, hidden or invisible.
You've used your action to try and do a search. So,
Sure.
Because I looked at the rules, technically it takes an action to search, unless you have that 1 feat. Or some other special ability.
Listen, I was just relying on you not knowing that rule.
Oh, come on now. Come on, son. So Kolmar, the creature, has changed the terrain and has vanished from sight. How do you respond?
Well, I'm going to get on my undead wyvern and fly south. Move my ass down here. And then I'm going to cast, shoot a fireball on one of these mushrooms, see what happens.
Where are you shooting your fireball?
Now you got to make me use this. The one... Let's see how far... what's the range on this son of a bitch?
20-foot radius.
Yeah, but distance is what,
150 feet.
Okay.
Oh, is it 150? Yeah.
So
that was
like
120.
behind the middle one right here.
Okay, so that puts it, the line of sight ends here because this is a giant stalk. So if you shot it in that direction, you'd hit the stalk right here. It wouldn't go past. So this thing here, this thing here, and this thing here, those are, imagine them as giant tree trunks.
Okay.
And they're like 30 feet across.
So I could probably hit this one without getting anybody then.
Well, it would probably impact the surface of this rather than explode from the middle of the stalk, since you can't technically see inside.
Right. So if you imagine like shooting a missile and the fireball explodes off the surface of whatever you're hitting, it would hit right here.
Hit where? Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I don't know why my color is gray. That's the worst color.
You can change the color. Just click on the color next to your name.
Okay.
It'll pull up like a box full of things.
There we
Okay.
go. This is much more easy to see.
Yeah, but that's the same color as Dustin's.
Well, Dustin could change his.
Fine. No. Here.
I'm gonna change it to.
What about that? Is that somebody else's color?
Okay, so I'll just send it down that way. I don't think I won't hit anybody 20 feet. I won't hit anybody.
Okay. So you're gonna send it here?
Yeah.
Okay. So the fireball impacts against the stalk of the mushroom, and you can see some of it begin to sizzle as steam escapes rapidly from the vesicles within. It does seem to do some damage to it. It leaves a small crater within. But it's not enough to cause the mushroom to topple.
Okay. And I guess my retainer goes to then. I'll just have him come down here and join me with the undead, my other undead minions. So.
Okay. All right. So.
Yeah, shit. I forgot about mine.
Well, yours is a shield. You can't really separate from it.
Well, it's got a firebolt.
That's true. All right, Bob, you're up. You just watched the creature disappear from view. The terrain changed. Colmar shot a fireball at one of the mushrooms. It created a crater within and did some damage, but it didn't seem to be enough to topple the mushroom. What do you do now? The creature is still not visible from where you're standing.
I am going to pick that again. Oh, I forgot. Shortcut keys for some reason don't even work in Firefox. I'm going to move 40 feet there, and I'm going to pull another arrow of Zoriat and ready in action to fire it at the queen if she shows herself.
Okay. All right. Martha, you just watched Bob move into a more advantageous position to ready in action and fire an arrow. What do you do?
Which mushroom did Komar attack?
This
One
one.
all the way on the right.
On the right. So Martha, he's gonna use fly. So he starts floating into the air, and I'm traveling to the middle mushroom, which I can just make just on the edge. So I fly above the mushroom.
So you're on top of the mushroom.
Yeah. Right on the edge there.
That's what she said.
So
just so you know, like these mushrooms are probably 100 feet high.
Okay.
Bragging.
So in that case, then with 60 flight speed,
I'll allow you to do it just because that's not information I shared with you. And so if your goal was to get to the top of the mushroom, we'll say that you can manage it.
that was my goal. And when I cast that, I was used meta magic for quicken spell as a bonus action.
Okay.
So when I'm on top of the mushroom, I pull out my bright yellow chalk, and upon the mushroom I draw a circle, which when drawn upon an object, it's treated as if a cantrip of light cast upon it.
So as you draw that circle, an area probably 5 feet wide begins to glow with light on the surface of the mushroom.
No.
It doesn't apply to the whole mushroom.
That's not
an action point to make it apply to the whole mushroom.
Yeah, you can.
that's I mean the light spell you can get an object, but you can't you can't be like, I'm gonna touch the earth and make the entire earth become a sign. It's just too big for a cantrip like that. If you had some other magic, perhaps.
All right. Well, if that's the case, because I thought it would light up the whole mushroom, I'm gonna see if I can like then crawl to underneath and draw it underneath it, so it'll just shove the 5 feet of light down into the darkness.
Okay. So are you gonna?
It'll at least illuminate part of it. So.
All right. So are you going to use an action point to make that additional movement and take that additional action of using the chalk?
Well, the action would have been using the chalk.
Right, but you already used it on the top of the mushroom, and you saw what the effect was. So do you now want to do an additional action and move action to go to the underside of the mushroom to see if you can draw the chalk upon it?
No, not in this.
Okay.
So that'll be it.
I just picture at the end of that action, Colmar sees Martha sees like the little section begin to glow, and then starts like shaking the chalk to figure out why it's not working the way he thinks.
That's not too far from the truth.
Okay. All right. So sorry, I gotta switch between screens. So the queen reappears, and you see her.
Can I take my shot? That's what
yes, you can. Yes.
So she has to make, let's say, assuming I hit with a 26, she has to make a DC 18 con save.
Okay.
And I'm going to spend a 5. Well, I'll wait to see.
So the arrow strikes the queen. It grazes her shoulder. It doesn't seem to have any death effect. The queen seems ready to continue fighting.
Okay. I am also going to spend a superiority die to do a menacing attack. So she has to make a wisdom save.
Okay.
DC 18.
Okay. So she seems like she gets a bit shaken, but then all of a sudden the darkness kind of comes around her and she's bolstered once again.
Okay. So since she made her save, she only takes damage. So that is 33, but more because she's vulnerable to the Bieshk.
So 33.
It would
total?
be, it was 20,
Or,
it was 27 is the base damage.
Okay.
Plus 5 for my dexterity.
Okay, so the total damage from the arrow is 27, plus 5, 31, 32. So
Right.
64.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so first of all, once you release that arrow, there's suddenly
Actually, I'm gonna use my lucky. I'm gonna give it a crack. Okay, yeah, I passed. That's a 19.
Okay.
Plus 9 on the fucking modifier.
And then
I didn't know we were bitches until level 18.
Now Martha is not within line of sight because the queen is still underneath the other mushroom, so you don't need to make the save, Martha. But
Sweet.
Omerta, what did you get?
There's, like I said, I only had a 5% chance of succeeding, so
Okay.
I did not.
And then what about Kolmar?
17, so I didn't make it.
Okay. All right. So Omerta and Kolmar have a sense of terror come over them in the presence of this creature, and then it lowers its head and opens its mouth far wider than you would expect and unleashes a torrent of acid. And let's see. That's in a 90-foot cone.
Uh-oh. Damn.
So
90 feet. Holy shit.
90-foot cone.
I think that's going to cover everybody except Marthau, who's on top of the mushroom. So everybody that is in that area of effect, give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, fuck. Okay, 15.
No.
Well,
17.
that's good.
18.
Bob?
I don't think it's gonna make it.
I got 25.
Considering the DC for the other thing was 19, this is probably also 19.
And I have evasion.
I'm gonna use my.
Bob manages to save.
I'm gonna use an action point.
Okay.
Much better. Way better. It's like 20 something.
20 what?
You know what, motherfucker? 22.
All right. So Bob saves.
What?
Um.
What kind of creature has two different saves? Save
And
DCs.
And so because he has evasion, he manages to get out of the way completely. Everybody else except Marthau will take 91 acid damage.
And
So is it like 90 feet wide, or is it like 90 feet long?
It's 90 feet long, and then it kind of becomes. I think it's 90 feet long, and then at the end point, it's 90 feet. So it's like a 90-foot triangle.
Damn.
Is that right? Am I thinking
I
that
think
right?
so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
it's a cone, so like, it's up in the air too, technically. It's a cone, so it goes all the way.
Yeah.
But Marthau's up above the thing, so unless it's gonna eat through.
He's
No,
safe.
A 90-foot cone of acid, there just must be waves of acid that are just moving along the ground.
yeah, it's like a fucking tsunami.
Yeah.
Fucking acid.
Because at the far end of the cone, it's like 45 feet high.
Well, that puts me into vitality points. So
So I'm dead.
Okay, so remember, guys, you each have that glowing energy that you can use and crush it as an action to get as if you had a long rest. Now, Kip, if you want to use an action point, you can do it as a reaction.
Oh, well, of course I would.
And then since I'm giving that option to Kip, Omerta, you also have that option if you wish.
to action point reaction.
And hurting, but your Delkier weapons helping to reduce some of the effect for Omerta and Kolmar finding his own ways to survive. But unfortunately, Kip, as the acid begins to fall away, you see his armor melting, his skin and flesh coming off the bone. His eyes have bleached over and are liquefying from his skull as he and Sunny unleash silent screams and take a couple of steps forward, like Lawrence Bodiger from RoboCop, and then collapse to the ground in a heap and continue to dissolve away into just blood and gore.
I like to think that just before that, he was about to eat the glowing orb, and the ghost of Petrie appeared and just stopped him and said, "Shh."
Martha lets out a scream and says, "Sonny!"
So I would assume that my retainer and the 2 wyverns are dead too.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
If you guys use an action point, it'll just reduce your retainers by 1 health level.
Don't they make saves? Normally?
They do, but
Unless I roll a 20.
yeah. I mean, you're welcome to try the roll,
Sure.
but even then, it's half the damage dice, and this was 26 damage dice.
Okay, I'll use an action point, so retainer will still be around to die
All right.
at some other point in time.
What about mine? That's a shield. Does this count as the the chance for the shield to retaliate and do 2d10 force damage to him?
It's only melee attackers, isn't it?
It just says strikes you while you wield this. It struck me with acid, the fucker.
Well, just tell me how it would work. What would it look like?
Let's see here. I kind of imagine it as a sort of, very, it makes a lot of noise whenever it's struck. That's what I kind of imagine, honestly. It's like whenever, almost like Captain America's vibranium shield. So like whenever it struck, it vibrates and reflects things back, sort of thing. But so instead, like maybe I pull it up in front of me. I couldn't get out of the way. There's no way I could fucking torrent of acid. I couldn't get out of the way of that. So instead I put the shield up and I strike the back of it, and then it sort of shoots this force, like just a line of force through the acid and back.
You're up and frightened. Colmar, you're on deck and frightened, and then Bob, you're in the hole.
All right.
Bob is also frightened.
I thought you made it. You got a 19, I thought.
I did. Just watch.
Sound has been lost. I think they've stopped talking. Whatever happened, we hope to have it fixed shortly.
So quick recap. The Queen just unleashed a torrent of acid encompassing everybody except Martau. Bob was able to deftly dodge out of the way. Omerta and Colmar were caught in it, but the worst was given to Kip and Sonny, who dissolved into pools of just blood and gore. And then Bob, you were talking about okay, you're scared but not frightened. So Colmar, wait a minute. Actually, so Omerta, you went already, right?
I think it's my turn.
Wait, no, okay. So the Queen went. That's why it unleashed all of the acid. So now it's your turn. And then Colmar is up, and then Bob is on deck.
Yeah. Okay. So I think perhaps I will. I'm gonna bonus action put one of my marks on him.
Okay.
Or her. I don't assume.
Because I don't assume, I'm slightly offended by you calling her queen.
Then I think I shall cast Burning Blood on the bitch.
Okay. Describe what that spell does.
Let me look up here in Mike's homebrew spells. Let's see here. You infect the blood of a creature within range with a toxic mixture of corrosive fluids. It must make a con save.
I'm going to remind you that they already have acid for blood.
It does acid and fire.
Okay. All right. So it makes a con save. Is the first
Yes.
check, right?
And perhaps, I don't know, fuck it. I'll use an action. Can I use an action point to make it all fire? Instead of fire and acid?
All right. So its con save is 16.
16. It does have disadvantage because it has a mark, but that still failed. So.
Okay.
And I didn't hear if there was an approval.
Yes.
A yay or nay? Okay.
I said yay for an action point. For an action point, you can do that.
All right, action point marked. And then, so it's going to be, this is a concentration for a minute. So every turn. Let's see. Oh yeah. So until the spell ends, the target cannot take reactions, and it can only take move actions on its turn. It's writhing in pain.
Okay. So all right. So it's writhing in pain. It can only take move actions and on its turn.
No reaction. Right.
And no reactions.
Right.
Okay. So
the damage is 10 fire.
Okay. So the creature does seem to be in some mild discomfort as some, and you can see flames begin to lick out of the wounds that are already open. But you also notice that this creature is constantly shimmering in and out of existence within the darkness of the shade cast by the mushrooms. And for some reason, it's not having as potent an effect as you would expect.
So not only is this bitch, so all of our other little bitches dead around here don't like fire. Suddenly she's resistant. Breaking all the rules.
Rules are made to be broken.
No, this is D&D, damn it.
Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna use another action points to break the thingy to get to
seal
one of those long rests.
Okay, you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So as you do that, so how often does this thing make a save?
Well, it doesn't. Every turn it will get to, I guess. And so long as I keep concentrating on it, even if it succeeds, the next turn it has to make it again, or it continues to take it. So on a successful save, the target does not take any damage or suffer any ill effects. However, for the spell's duration, the target must make a new con save at the start of each of its turns, or it takes the damage and suffers the spell's effects.
Okay. So it is now, after that happens, once more the creature vanishes from sight.
All right. I mean, I'm backing up a little bit here too, so. No reason for us to be so close together.
All right. So
maybe not stand in such a convenient cone.
I can't see where Bob is. Oh wait, there you are. Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
That's what I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to get out of the way. Where's Colmar?
Colmar's right next to you.
Oh. So yeah, it's a fucking xenomorph. I thought it was a dead xenomorph that we killed.
And pretty much. I mean, it's not far off.
So you guys notice Omerta casts a spell on the creature, but it's shimmering in and out of existence, and the spell doesn't seem to be as effective as the creature is encased in shadow, and then it disappears from view. So, Colmar, you're up, then Bob on deck.
Okay. See here.
This is the second round.
Yes. I shot once. That's might have been my game so far.
All right, let me check one thing. Bob is up next, right? The much ballyhooed Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Check this. All right. So I'm gonna move. Down here. I think I'm within 30 feet of Bob. And I'm going to cast haste on him.
All right. So, Bob, you are infused with the magical energy that Colmar has provided, increasing your speed and agility. Is that all that you're doing, Colmar?
Well, my two wyverns are just like heaping mounds of mush being dissolved. I'll leave my minion up here. He'll look menacing.
Okay. And then after Colmar does that, there is another rumbling in the ground. This time, we're going to say, all right, I need to learn how to draw on this thing. Where's the draw?
Under the select arrow, there's a little, it's either a box or a little paintbrush on the left side.
Here. Okay, so all right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a minute, I'm not. Okay, so within this square, do you guys see the square that I laid out?
Nope.
Why not? Oh, that would, I know why.
It's in the layer with your queen. If you're in Chrome and you select anything and hit LO, it'll move it to the object layer.
Ah, layered object. That makes sense.
Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So within that square, creatures begin crawling up from the ground, each of them looking to be like some form of giant hand, each of them ending in a tail. And they swarm over everybody who's within that square. So anybody that's caught in that square needs to make a DC 18 strength saving throw.
21.
Okay.
11.
Okay. So Kolmar, one of these creatures has grappled your face, and now you are blind, and you feel something trying to push its way into your mouth. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
Fail.
Okay. So you feel something sliding down your throat, and forcing its way into your stomach.
Bragging?
What?
Echo goblin fingers.
What did I miss exactly?
Hands are crawling up around out of the ground near Kolmar and Bob.
Face huggers. It's face huggers.
Of course.
So that happened. Bob, you're up.
So
You see these face huggers erupting from the ground, and one of them latch on to Bob and his face.
Now Kolmar.
Or Kolmar, yes.
right. So it's basically like wrapped around Kolmar's head.
Yeah, it's strange though because of the anatomy of Kolmar's head. It's latched onto his face, and you can see the tail whipping, trying to grab his neck, but it's just so far away.
So what would Bob do? It's an interesting problem because I know exactly what Bob would do for anybody except for Kolmar. But Bob is going to draw out one of his Zoriat slaying arrows and is going to go over. You can tell me if I don't think this would work. I would probably just try to shoot it, but
Stab it with the arrow.
yeah, Kolmar might be a Zoriat-based creature himself. I don't really know. I'm going to go over and try to stab the creature with the arrow.
Yeah, you can do that. That would be fine.
So I move there, and then I don't know what that would be. Presumably it's improvised weapon at this point.
Yeah, but it's just, he's kind of. I'm going to say you can do it without rolling.
Okay, then it has to make a DC 18 con save.
Okay, so it fails, and it also sprays a little bit of blood, acid blood, from the wound. So give me a dexterity save.
But I have advantage on those. So 23.
Okay, so you dodge out of the way, no problem, and you stab the creature. You see it spasm, and then it falls off, but it falls off like it's caught on something as the probe that is shoved down Kolmar's throat kind of slowly slides out, causing the creature to fall until the length of it has escaped his mouth.
So is this basically like an effect? Do I see like lots of face huggers that are going to continue to attack us, or are they leaving? Or
no, they're all in the area, and they're all like continuing to grab at you guys.
Okay, well, very much in the Legolas style, as I just stabbed someone with an arrow, I would use the rest of my movement to move out to something like here, and then take that same arrow and shoot one of them with that arrow, even though I know the magic in it is spent.
Okay.
Still a BS arrow. That's a 22.
Okay. You hit one, pinning it to the ground and causing it to spasm as it bleeds upon the arrow and dies.
And then I'm going to use my bonus action, since I'm still hasted. My bonus action to, I guess, just move here to try to mess up the cone.
All right.
You're just gonna draw more of the creatures from that side.
And in fact, I am going to spend an action point to take another action to ready an action to fire another one of these slaying arrows when the queen reappears.
Okay. Martha, you're up.
So we determined from the first turn that these mushrooms are susceptible to fire, right?
Yeah. Colmar's fireball did quite a bit of damage to it. It didn't lead to any degree of structural integrity damage, but it would be reasonable to just assume that multiple attacks like that could potentially bring them down.
Okay. So I'm going to, I'm on the top, and I've been carrying these around for probably 3 years, so I'm going to start using them.
Oh boy.
I have some oil flasks.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna take out a few oil flasks and just throw them down and smash them. Just kind of pour them out, and then I'm going to take a step back away from it. So I'm gonna move. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna do this more so in the center. So I'm gonna move into the center. I'm going to dump some oil. Let's see if freehand, there we go. Some oil around. And then I'm going to take a few steps back and cast bonfire.
Okay.
Create bonfire on that area. So starting a bonfire in the middle of the mushroom.
Okay. So that does cause a sudden conflagration across the mushroom. That does seem to start to spread slowly. But these are very large. You're going to need something more with more oomph if you want to really get these things going. The heads are like a foot or two thick. So if you want to start punching holes in them or getting them to be destroyed, it looks like it's going to take some more significant effort.
Well, are these? What kind? Like when I think of mushrooms, right? Like if I had a mushroom that was a foot or two thick, like I could still dig into it. Is this like mushroom consistency, or is this more like tree bark consistency?
I mean, they're much more. It's much sturdier than what you would expect, but I mean, you could dig into them. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you on top of the mushroom?
Yeah.
How much of what's going on below you has Martha noticed?
Well, he was focused on trying to get the queen out and smoke her out, if you will.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, he noticed the giant 90-foot cone of acid. Like, you can't not notice something of that nature.
Right.
Like, yeesh, glad I wasn't down there.
You had to like hang off and look over the edge of the mushroom cap long enough to yell, "Sonny!"
Yeah. So I did yell that.
Okay. But the fire that you have started is continuing to spread, and you also still have that 5-foot area of mushroom that is lit up like a torch from the light spell.
So
Also, I'm going to say that these are such minor actions that if you want to take another action, you can.
okay. See, I don't have any kind of tools to actually puncture holes. I mean, I guess I could like stab it with the knife, but it doesn't seem like it would be. Unless these are Zoriat mushrooms. Which, you know, they might be. So, do these mushrooms, like, do they appear like they're corrupted in the same sense of like the trees, the corrupted trees we ran into?
I mean, it's a pretty safe assumption. They're highly unnatural. The shadow that they're emitting from below is much stronger than you would expect just normal shadows to be, even given their size. And you know, there's no mushrooms that you're aware of in this world that could grow to such size.
So I guess if that's the so that being the case, I would Martha would stab his BS dagger into it and try to see if he can like see like what the effect of that would be, and kind of like pulling it around, kind of like cutting and sawing.
Where are you starting to stab?
I would stab. So assuming that there's a conflagration in the middle, I would stab like a few feet away from it.
Okay.
So, like right there.
So stabbing into the mushroom with your unique Biesh weapon does cause the mushroom to begin to dissolve away from it, clearing out probably a 10-foot cube, causing it to eat down into the stalk a little bit. And actually you need to kind of sidestep, or you might fall into the crater that you've created with your dagger.
So if it is it a 10-foot cube like going down or going across?
Both. It's what a cube is, down and across.
So
3 dimensions.
If the mushroom's like 2 feet thick, 2 or 3 feet thick,
You stabbed into the stalk though, so it's going down. So it's so it is like kind of causing some instability towards the end on the section extending from that edge, but in terms of oh, actually, yeah, I see what you're saying now. So there would be a section of light shining.
Yeah, so like here, right? Like I was like imagining I was stabbing in this spot. So if there's a 10-foot cube that has eaten away from this spot, that would be like a.
So point again where you did it.
It's the dot in the middle here, like the filled in.
Okay.
So if it's a 10-foot cube, like from that spot, then
So this area, do you guys see the square that I made?
yeah.
Okay, so that's where the hole opened up. So based on that, it's still going just directly into the stalk. It hasn't affected, except maybe a small portion. Come on, get on the right view. Like a small section, like right here, there might be a little bit of light poking through to the ground, but where it is right now, not.
Gotcha. I guess.
Sorry, go ahead.
If that's the case, then I would use an action point to take another action to just keep sawing away at this thing.
Okay, so where are you going to next?
Well, in this spot, this yellow square, has it eaten through? You said it's eaten through to the stalk. How thick is the stalk? Is like the stalk this whole like brown sphincter looking thing the stalk?
Yeah, that entire inner circle and the circle surrounding it too. That is all the stalk.
Gotcha.
And
it's really only like 5 feet from the stalk, like underneath.
what?
So I'm confused. So is that like
The stalk has about a 15-foot radius.
yeah?
Yeah,
So
it's like a tree trunk.
okay. So does that mean that there is like 5 feet at the very edge of where there's like not a tree trunk that the shadow is actually extending to?
Not based on where you did it, because it's just gone into the stalk. It hasn't really gone into the edges of the mushroom head.
Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering if that's so if this is one giant stalk that is extending into the ground, then
Yeah.
how can a dinosaur like stay within 5 feet of it unless there's like a tiny stalk in the middle and that this is not a giant 15-foot radius stalk?
What do you mean?
So she's
Where is there a dinosaur?
the queen?
No, the queen, from where you've previously seen, the queen has been here, which is, this stalk right here it only extends, from here. Where is it? So yeah, this stalk is here, but the queen was standing right here that you saw, and originally it was standing like right here. It's never been in this area or in this area that you've ever seen.
Oh, I see. Okay. I thought
It's been next to them, but it hasn't been within them.
I see. So when it disappears, it's not necessarily disappearing into the mushroom, it's just disappearing because it's near these mushrooms.
Well, you only saw it disappear the one time.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay. Sorry,
So,
a minute turn talking about mushroom physiology.
no, it's fine. It's important for you to kind of develop your strategy. So you said that you're going to take an action point, though, to stab somewhere else?
Well, not if that's the case. If that's the case, I'm going to just fly. I'll fly as I moved 10, 20.
Yeah, you got movement left.
Yeah, so I'm going to fly probably about here and just kind of survey the rest of the battlefield.
Okay.
And wait till I see the queen again.
Okay. So now it's the queen's turn. And what is your spell save DC, Omerta?
18.
Okay.
And it has disadvantage because it has a mark on it.
All right. Okay. So you can feel like the magic. You feel like it should have worked, but suddenly something overcomes the magic and causes her to be to resist the effects of it.
At least for this turn.
What's that?
At least for this turn.
Right. And then the next thing that you see is where is it? It appears right next to you.
What's this?
And then begins just unleashing hell.
Can I take my ready to action to shoot her?
Yes, you can.
She almost certainly on that side, she may have some cover. You can figure out how much and if that affects my shot. I have sharpshooter,
no.
I forgot.
No, and she doesn't have any cover because everything that's in between you is a dead body.
That's a 29 to hit.
That hits.
She has to make a DC 18 Constitution save. And I'm going to spend a Chi point to get an extra D6 on that. To damage, that is, if she makes it.
She rolled a 21.
That makes it.
Okay. And
So
then
that is a base of 25 damage plus 5 for my dexterity. So 30 damage, and it's a BS weapon.
all right, so then it's effectively 60. So as you loose this arrow into her, you notice that since the shadows are no longer swirling about her, it is much more effective stabbing into her thigh, causing a stream of blood to kind of pulse out before the wound quickly coagulates. And then, unfortunately, Omerta, because this happened right next to you.
Sure the ass!
My arrows don't like arc around and then come back. You're resistant to acid. You'll be fine.
Yeah, so you take 30 acid damage, though you're resistant, so it's reduced to 15.
Yeah. And I'm only going to have, like, I don't know, probably 5 whiplash attacks against me, so.
And then also...
I like to imagine that the arrow hits and the acid comes out just like in a direct spray, like right into your eye. Nowhere else.
It's like, really?
So actually, before this happened, Omerta, you should have rolled for wisdom to see if you're still frightened, and the Colmar as well. So quickly roll to see if you guys are still frightened.
DC still 19?
Still 19.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
I literally can only win on a natural 20, so.
Okay. So while you are frightened of her, you have
also all in a cone again, where she could get us if she has her breath weapon back.
You get the sense that she doesn't, as especially since her body language indicates that she is about to just begin clawing the shit out of Omerta, and so that is, let's see, Okay, so she's gonna do her claw attack first, which is a total of 33. And then additionally, you need to make a escape DC 22.
Acrobatics.
Sure.
Oh, fuck me. Whatever.
Okay, so are you grappled?
Looks like it.
Okay. So then you take 11 plus 7. So you take 18 slashing damage. And then as you take that, she grabs you, she brings you up to her face. And because you're grappled, no need to roll, it's automatic. She pierces you with her double jaw, which is 38 piercing damage and 38 acid damage, which is halved for you, so it's 17. And I think you just need to make some concentration checks.
You allow me to succeed on a nat 20?
Yeah, nat 20 always succeeds.
Give me a second here. I just used one of those things to get back all of my HP. Well, it's not a nat 20. I guess I should check out how much damage I took here. So
yeah, because it's half, right? Half the damage.
Half of 73.
Well, it's not total. It's per attack.
No. It's for the round.
Is it?
Pretty sure. That's how I've always seen it whenever I read it.
I thought it was.
Otherwise, you're making like several rolls, where you're more likely to fail. But it adding up also is helpful.
I've always played it that it's different save for every attack, so that a lot of them wind up being DC 10.
Yeah.
Other than one impossible one, that's all of the damage.
The way that I'm seeing it, the way that I'm reading it, whenever you take damage while you're concentrating on a spell, you must make a Constitution saving throw to maintain your concentration. The DC equals 10 or half the damage you take, whichever is higher. If you take damage from multiple sources, such as an arrow and a dragon's breath, you make a separate saving throw for each source of damage. So you would make two saves, one against the claw and one against the proboscis. So the claw is only DC 10.
All right, well, that one's a success. And then that other one was 50, because it was piercing and acid, that totaled 55 damage, which is half of that.
It's only a DC 24.
Yeah.
Only.
Yeah, I know.
But still doable.
I got a chance. I do have a chance. I'm proficient.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Oh, holy shit. That's a natural 20.
There you go.
She takes damage back. She actually does because of my shield, by the way.
So go ahead and roll it.
She hit me twice, the bitch.
Is it for each attack?
Now let me double check your wording here. that strikes you while you wield this attack, or while you wield this shield. It struck me twice.
All right.
13 and 11.
And then she takes damage, but that causes acid to spray out.
Yeah.
It does. It does actually.
Striking
it's
you,
force
which causes
damage.
the shield to spray out.
It's force damage. Why would it do acid damage back to me? You're gonna have a fucking feedback loop here.
Right. Well, maybe you'll get it to 0 before.
Well, the good thing.
It's not actually, but the acid is not it's more of an area of effect. So.
Well, the good thing is we got her down to triple digits. So.
Those two, it was 13 and 11 from a Zoriat shield doubled, goes to 26, 22.
Yeah.
48.
And then you also take 28 acid damage, reduced to 14. So, and then you have to make another Constitution save. And actually, you didn't make the Constitution save for the original acid either.
What's that?
So you didn't make the concentration check for the original acid damage from Bob's arrow. So you have 2 more of those. I think they're both DC 10 though, because you half of 28 is 14, half of that is 7, so it's DC 10.
Even with proficiency, I failed one of them. So.
Oh. Okay. Do you want to use an action point to try and maintain it?
No, I'm gonna need it.
Okay.
Yeah, this is only the first of Mike's fights for the day. The worst fight's coming.
This is the undercard.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I remember hearing Kurt one time saying he wanted to fight a dragon. This is my version of a dragon.
Yeah, you heard Kurt say that.
All right. So that's the monster's turn. Now, Omerta, you're up. Holmar on deck. Bob in the hole. Omerta, let me check if you roll before your turn or after your turn for the. So with the frightful presence at the end of your turn. So after your turn, you can attempt to save against the fright effect.
Quick question. I missed that last bit of acid damage. What was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was.
I remember
after resistance. After resistance, it was 14.
Jesus Christ. Well, in one turn, I'm real close to back where I was before the last turn.
Well, Kip has another one of those little balls he never used that you can crush.
You gotta dig through the slime that's left. Have any of you guys ever seen the movie Terror Vision?
Maybe a long time ago.
Oh, that's a gem right there. That movie. It involves someone getting liquefied. It was good. All right, so Merta, you're up. You just suffered this onslaught with the queen revenging you for casting that spell upon it.
Yeah, whatever.
And also got splashed after Bob's arrow.
Yeah, I know. I was there. Let's see here. Let me check this quick.
Also, Colmar, you're on deck, and Bob, you're in the hole. So start thinking about what you're gonna do.
Did they come for you?
that's not the one. That's not the one I thought it was. So yeah, I'll bonus action put another of the my marks on the thing. So it's got
So
two.
it's got two
there.
seals.
Mm-hmm. And then, fuck me. It would be real cool if I could use my sword to attack it in a way that doesn't splash acid on me. That'd be great. It's a large creature, pretty big creature.
So if you want, you can try to get your sword to move around the creature because you're talking about your dancing sword.
Yeah.
If you did that, then yeah, I would allow for you to avoid the damage.
How generous. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I got 2 attacks. God, got my dice. Oh my god. I suppose I can give myself advantage in some way. Yeah, I'm gonna use my last action point because I'm not gonna fuck myself up with a natural 1. It's not great. So we have a 19 to hit.
No.
And then a 24 to hit.
All right. So that normally would hit, but the creature shimmers out of existence, and you feel, because you're right next to it this time as it's happening, you're feeling a whoosh of air, almost as if the space where it occupied is no longer there and the air is rushing in, and it's suddenly no longer there.
Alrighty.
And then I will. So, anything else that you're doing?
There's not really much I can do. I'll just move out of here. I'll move away.
I will say that after both Bob's last shot at it, as well as the force damage from your shield, it's looking pretty beat up.
Well, maybe she should have just stayed where she was so we can end this. Otherwise, everything's gone. So all my stuff is used at the moment. So I got no more action points. Bonus action spent.
Okay.
Here I am.
Roll to see if you get out of the fright.
I can't see it.
Does the fright remain if you can't see it?
I don't know. I rolled nat 20.
Okay, so you're
Somehow.
fine.
I managed the one fucking roll I needed.
Yeah, the fright remains even when it's the.
Yeah. It would stay there. If there were other things to fight, I wouldn't have disadvantage because he's not within view, or she.
Right. All right. So Colmar, you're up. Bob on deck. Martha in the hole.
All right. So I'm down. Bonus action, Misty Step to get the fuck out of here.
Okay. So you get out of that square with all the face huggers. As you leave that square, you see that any remaining ones kind of begin to crumple and crack, and then eventually turn to dust.
All right. So when I go by Kip and Sonny's, a big puddly mess, what do I find?
So if you take an action to kind of move around, like kind of search around, you can find the bulb of energy, if that's what you're looking for.
That or whatever Biesh weapon he had. I don't know what he was using.
He had a whole bag of them.
The bag is now dead, so the dimensional rift is destroyed. You know what? Let me see what I gave him. I think he had a weapon that could change into other weapons.
Okay.
And did 2d10 damage. I want to say, regardless of what the fuck, regardless of what weapon it was.
Okay. So if I can use my action to grab those things.
Yeah. So the weapon does look worse for wear. It is a bit pitted, but as you grab it, you can still feel the magic within.
Okay. All right. And send my minion down here.
I'm gonna post the stats for Brendan's weapon in the chat.
Okay.
Yep, that's Brendan. Kip, sorry. Kip and Sonny.
Okay.
Anything else that you're doing?
Nope.
Did any of you spellcasters have the see invisibility spell?
Not prepared.
I do not.
Man, that'd be helpful.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Bob, you watched Omerta attempt to strike this thing, and as the strike seemed like it was going to be true, it teleported away and is now no longer within sight. You also know that the arrow that you sent flying true into the creature seemed to really injure it. You noticed that it was starting to favor its leg a little bit as it was attacking Omerta. And then you just watched Kolmar kind of grabbing around in what used to be Sonny and Kip to find Kip's weapon and the life orb that he had on his person. So what do you do?
You're on mute.
Yep. I will. Well, I know I'm already at the corner of the map, but thematically, still being frightened by the tidal wave of acid ability she has, I will back up 40 feet You know what? I will back up 80 feet because I'm still hasted. I will ready in action to fire an arrow.
You're off the map. All right. You're readied. All right, Martha, you just watched Bob run away. But he did turn back, and you think way over there, you think you see him holding an arrow ready to fire.
You hear him yell from a great distance away, "It's okay, I can hit things at 600 feet."
This is siege.
But good luck.
Well, don't really have much to. Can't see invisibility.
Do you have any area of effect spells that might be helpful in just trying to guess where it is?
No. I actually don't. That's the one thing I don't do. Anyways, my area effects are charms, which haven't been pretty useful. So I'm gonna ready my action for whenever it appears.
Okay. And what are you readying your action to do?
To fire something at it, like fire a bolt at it,
Okay.
or cast a spell. Whatever.
How high are you flying in the air?
I'd be 100 feet in the air
Okay.
because I didn't really move down. Just kind of moved away.
All right.
To the top of the mushroom.
Also, Colmar, give me a wisdom save for the fright effect.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait. Maybe. Oh, dirty 20.
All right. You're no longer a furred.
But then you took 90 of acid damage, so how'd that work out for you?
All right. So let's see. All right. So are you still hovering over the mushroom?
No, I'm kind of in the middle here, where my character icon is.
It's still kind of overlapping with the middle mushroom. I know it's kind of hard to see.
Is that a mushroom?
Yeah.
So is there 6 mushrooms then?
No, but some of the mushrooms are sprouting.
Oh. Yeah, I thought that was just ground. So if that's the case, then I guess I would have been hovering over that.
Do you want to have been there, or would you rather?
I'd probably go a little bit closer to where I'm at currently. Not.
Okay, so you would have moved here instead?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. So you're Martha. You're readying an action. All right. Let's find out if a certain thing is going to happen. No. You guys get the sense that there is no acid coming your way. But
however,
you notice you see the creature does seem to reappear. Oops, no, that's wrong. How do I do this? There. The creature appears right there. So those who have ready to actions, go ahead and do them.
I've ready to go. Ha!
It's a 24 to hit for me.
That hits.
So she has to make a DC 18 con save.
She got a 23.
Then she takes actually 23 damage total, so doubled to 46.
So while she's in the shadows, with the shadows shimmering, it seems that the arrow is not as effective as you would have expected. Like not even as effective as you would normally expect against a creature who shouldn't be vulnerable. And then Martha, you're doing it.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna use Quicken Spell to cast Bane. Let's see. Am I 30 feet away?
You said you ready to shoot a firebolt.
I actually am. I said I'm ready to shoot a spell, like a bolt or something.
You said firebolt.
I said
if you want to change the spell you're using, you can do that.
I mean, I was ready for it to like appear, and I was gonna attack it, and it appeared.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get it with Bane.
Okay.
With a Quicken Spell.
That's a charisma save?
Yes.
It fails.
All right. Baned with a D. And then for the regular action, I'm going to cast Confusion. And given that I'm floating, I guess I can't cast Confusion. I'd have to go down first. So maybe next time. So in that sense, I'll just throw a cast bolt at it. And let's say.
Actually, Bane is concentration 2.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh, damn. So in that case, I guess I would start falling. Well, you know what? I'll spend an action point to like get that dual concentration. Just for
can't do that. I've already established Tacitus having to go through hoops to be able to do that. So to allow you to do that with an action point would be unfair.
Yeah.
All right.
If Tacitus were here,
but with 2 action points.
If you want, you can change the Bane spell to something else.
Options.
You want to just hit it with the Chaos Bolt?
Hold on a sec. Yeah, I guess the Chaos Bolt will have to do.
All right.
So that's a 20. It's a 21.
Can it jump to the same person?
No.
No, it can't. So it's just going to be a level
1. 21 hits.
Does 13. 13 thunder damage. So 26 thunder damage.
All right. So the damage is not as effective as you would expect, especially given that this thing is supposed to be vulnerable to your spells due to the Biesh item that you're wielding. And then in response to you throwing spells at it, the creature vanishes, reappearing in the air next to you. And as it begins falling, it releases two attacks in quick succession: a claw attack and a tail. So
I'm going to use my reaction to cast Aegis of Shielding.
Aegis of what?
Shielding.
And what does that do?
It adds +5 to my bonus AC, and I get resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing.
Okay.
And then after the attack is resolved, then it takes 1d4 force damage. And it's got disadvantage on next turn.
Okay. So the first attack is a miss. The second attack with its tail, so it swipes at you and then begins falling, but its tail has much greater reach. So as it and rolled a what's the tail? 21. No, 21.
Is that with? Yeah, that hits.
Okay. So then you take 40 piercing damage.
Is that with resistance kept in mind?
No, it is not.
All right.
So 20 total. And you have to make a concentration check to maintain your flight.
15.
All right, so you make it. And then the creature then falls to the ground. How high were you? Because you said you lowered yourself.
Yeah, I would have lowered myself 60 feet worth one movement action.
Okay, so you would have been 30 feet in the air?
Yeah.
All right. So it does take some damage from the fall, but is able to quickly get back up to its feet. And I should move it, shouldn't I?
And it also takes 2 force damage for the Aegis of Shielding kind of response.
Okay. So so 2, you said?
Yeah, 2.
So that damage is a bit more effective than you would have expected.
All the
So
slap damage at it, and then it's like the hit from the force shield that really does the kicker.
all right. So Omerta, you're up. Colmar on deck. Bob in the hole.
Also, you have disadvantage. The queen has disadvantage on her attack rolls until the end of its next turn.
So the queen's like, come on, acid breath.
So currently the queen is not next to anybody.
No.
Because Colmar's up, or not Colmar, but Marthal's up in the air.
Oh, wait a minute. Colmar's right here. So Colmar is within 10 feet of it.
Yeah, but like that splashing, that acid.
Oh, yeah, no.
Not within range of that. That's what I mean.
No.
All right. I'm getting annoyed by this motherfucker. So, bonus action, third seal.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna send my sword after it.
All right.
Attack a couple of times. Alrighty. So the first one is only a 16, unfortunately.
All right. So that misses.
And then the second one is a natural 19 plus 10.
So natural 19 scores a crit as your BS weapon, right?
Yeah, it is a BS one. Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
so
if that's something that's innate on all of them, because that wasn't in my thing, so
it wasn't in the thing for your dancing. No. Okay. So that's the BS weapons in general do that.
right. Okay. Yeah.
So,
I wasn't sure if that was all of them or just the one that Kip the trader had.
So roll again to confirm.
Oh yeah. Shit. Dropping dice all over the place. 20.
So that confirms.
Oh
so,
yeah.
So
That's
go ahead.
That's unfortunate for this guy because I was consuming those seals.
So go ahead and roll your percentile.
Oh. A 6.
All right, so target is pushed back 10 feet. So
Of course he is.
right there.
Where acid from the rune sprays onto Colmar.
I got like a huge range on this attack. Maybe I could push it a different direction instead of directly at Colmar.
Well, you didn't say that you were curving it around or anything.
But I was being active in trying. I made sure he wasn't going to be next to him whenever I made my attack.
You did, but you didn't anticipate the effectiveness of the attack.
I suppose so. Well, I mean, it's fine. You might get hit. I mean, you're going to get hit because we're talking about Mike here.
Does it prevent the attack of opportunity?
I don't think it's necessary because this guy's going to get fucked up. Is it still like double max or?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So let me just write down on my dice here. So we have 3d8 and I mean, I guess I suppose I need to specify damage types, huh?
Would be helpful.
All right, give me a second. So yeah, 2d8 are fire. Okay. And then the rapier's damage is also a d8. plus 5. All right. And then because I have unspent seals, an extra 2d6. And then I'm consuming 3 seals at 4d6 each. So 12d6.
Wait, why are they doubled?
Huh?
Why
Well,
are the damage dice doubled?
It's 4d6 necrotic damage per seal that I consume. And I'm consuming all 3.
Is it that much?
Uh-huh. It builds up.
I thought it was 2d6 per seal.
It's 2d6 per unspent seal. And currently I have an infinite amount of them.
Okay.
Listen, you're gonna just fucking throw up acid on me and kill me anyways, so...
Well, no. First of all...
I'm right there.
Yeah, first of all... Kolmar, you take 30 acid damage in the splash.
I'm down.
But Tacitus, go ahead and describe how the creature dies.
Omerta?
Or Omerta.
So, like, I imagine, like, its tail's whipping around because it's getting frantic because it knows it's close to death. But, and it whips away the first attack. But then the second attack, I drive down. I mean, I had kind of pictured driving it down onto the thing, but I guess it stumbled whenever I drove it down. And it's like geysering a little bit of acid as I did so, and perhaps it just kind of crumbles and it gets pinned to the ground for a moment before I, have my sword rise out of it and fly back to me. And to me, it's like nobody else can see the seals, but to me, I see all the marks, like they sort of like spin, and whenever I consume them, and like it's like a combination lock coming into place, and then all the pieces stop spinning and sort of deal the damage that they do internally, so as not to show evidence externally. Like hitting somebody with a pillow full of soap and stuff.
I think we're all familiar with what that looks like.
Watch Full Metal Jacket.
Does the damage reduction from the buckler count with that or not?
What does your buckler do?
All damage you take is reduced by 2d4 plus 5.
Yeah. All damage.
Good. Well, I just want to make sure it wasn't whiplash acid damage.
We all know that's exempt from everything.
Okay. I'm just barely hanging on.
In vitality or out of vitality?
I'm not in vitality yet.
Okay.
So Bob comes jogging up. He's fine. He hasn't been hit. and he was actually taking it really easy. It was only after I saw Dustin go that I was like, oh, I can ready my like full attack every round. I've been taking one attack every round with a ready to action.
Yeah, I thought about that as Dustin was going. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the house rule has been you ready your whole action. So I apologize for that. This thing probably would have been killed sooner.
Bob's just been like, that's enough.
Bob just knows that he needs to reserve these arrows. That's all.
All right. I'm going to use an action point, but haste is still up.
Okay.
I think haste is like a minute long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys have just destroyed this thing. The the monstrous mushrooms begin to slowly crumble and topple in on themselves
Okay.
in this creature's death.
Watch out, guys. You're going to get crushed by the fucking giant
So what's the
mushrooms.
size of this creature?
It's like let me see what I put for it. It is gargantuan. I probably didn't reflect its gargantuanness very well.
It's gargantuanity.
Yeah.
Gargantuanosity? I don't know.
I
I mean,
that.
it takes up a 10 by 15 foot cube, but it's also incredibly tall. So, you guys have finally destroyed this thing, barely escaping with your lives in some senses, others being not so lucky.
So Martha sees he lowers to the ground, and I can kind of tell that Kolmar is just barely hanging in there. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on him twice.
Bob is going to go just to see if to see just how badly the bag of holding full of BS weapons that Kip was carrying is destroyed. But, glimmer of hope that maybe it somehow survived miraculously.
Oh, nice. Thanks.
It did not.
I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on myself.
How does Sunny look?
Goo?
Is there a skeletal structure?
No. It's all been dissolved away.
Straight up bullshit.
There's still a lot of alien bodies laying around.
Well, I can't say that I'm necessarily saddened by the loss of Kip, but Sunny is going to be a blow.
Well, the plan was to send him in to die bravely.
He did die.
Not even he could foresee the 90-foot cone of acid.
Yeah. And I'm like, yes, what was up with that exactly?
That is probably the world's supply of acid sprayed out.
Well, if that creature is capable of that, we have yet to meet Umberos. I hope that there's not even another even bigger supply of acid that he's prepared.
Part of me wants to say, that wasn't Umbros?
And as that comment is made, whether it's said out loud or not, you guys hear thunderous noise coming from the distance, and as you look in the direction where the noise is coming from, you see brilliant flashes of light and arcs of energy spewing into the sky with regular intervals.
Which is it in the direction of the world truth?
Yes.
There's no problem if it's like coming from the opposite direction. We'll just do that. Yeah, Bob would probably react with, and start walking in that direction.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps we should take a short rest, regain our just a brief moment of respite before the final battle.
Well, you assume the final one.
Yeah.
As in,
I mean, do you think we even have time to rest? Do you think we can rest safely here to begin with?
I believe that is why our generous dungeon master gave us these little orbs.
Well, you could. You guys do notice that, through the power that's been given to you by Narboil, you do feel like you recover a bit more quickly. So, on your way to get closer to whatever it is that's happening near the World Tree, you could take a short rest, despite the fact that you're actively running towards something and don't have as much time as a normal short rest.
sweet. I'm gonna expend some hit die.
If I sped us up a little.
Where's everybody? Where's everybody at in terms of health and expendables?
Was all our hit dice reset?
Unless you used any in the previous battle. Oh well, did you use the orb, Peter?
What's the orb do?
The orb that restores you as if you took a long rest.
Can you use that at any time?
You can use it at any time as an action. And I know that you found Kip's orb as well.
Oh, I didn't realize I had one. I thought just Kip and somebody else had one.
Oh no, everybody had
got
one.
Oh, okay.
So if you use that, you would regain half your hit dice as per long rest. In addition to regaining full health and abilities.
So I'd get all my HP back?
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to use it then.
Can you re-prepare spells?
Yeah. Yeah. It would take place instantly in your head as part of the energy as it's coalescing through your body.
So yeah, with that short rest we're getting as we move, I kind of get, as a monk fighter, everything back. I didn't use my second wind, and because I wasn't down hit points, but everything else is pretty much short rest. Oh, second wind is short rest too, so.
Yeah. The only fighter thing that I know of that doesn't come back on a short rest is Indomitable. And then Eldritch Knight's spells, obviously. Yeah, I mean, before a short rest, I spent second and third level spell slots to cast Cure Wounds on myself. So I'm down 66 hit points. But yeah, I mean, I guess if we're able to get a short rest in here while we're moving.
Spend them if you got them.
Oh, nice, Max.
So
Technically, if Kolmar used the orb before Marthal cast Cure Light Wounds on him, if he does it after, the Cure Light Wounds are sort of pointless.
Oh yeah. Martha, you can get your spell slots back if Kolmar did that.
Yeah, that jerk. I didn't realize I had 2 orbs.
Well, you know, one of us now has no orb because he used it during that fight. As you sit there juggling too.
How do I hold all these orders?
Who doesn't have one?
I use mine.
Yeah, Omerta used his.
Okay.
So we'll, huh?
I was gonna say, as we're running, Martha was kind of humming and singing along. We come with roll of drum to run, run. We come with horn and drum to run, run. And so everybody gets an extra D6.
Extra what?
D6.
Oh, Song of Rest.
Song of Rest. Which is a battle song, so not really a resting song, but
So we'll continue the rest of this conflict next time. Next week is Kurt's game. What did everyone think about the fight tonight, outside of the technical difficulties?
I was legitimately frightened for all of our lives once the acid cone hit. Once I heard 91 hit points of damage.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe that's going to be a total party kill. Except Martha was sitting on top of the mushroom. Be like, that sucks. Like, kill everybody and just get left alone.
Then Mike would have the problem of introducing new player characters next week.
At the end of the game.
This is awkward. So you guys thought you were the chosen ones, but really you just softening up for the real chosen one.
Yeah. Narboyle uses that line on everyone, so...
Any comments or critiques about how the battle was run?
I
guess I was just confused about the mushrooms.
We could tell.
Actually, that reminds me. I like the mushroom image a lot. How it's sort of semi transparent. Where did you find that?
I made it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I found an image that I liked of mushrooms that were being used like battle map tokens, and I just kind of enlarged them, and I did the transparency in Photoshop. So I made it selectively transparent so that the trunks would be opaque and the tops would be transparent.
Yeah, I thought that was really good because I usually just like slap down trees, which means on my maps, which means people have to walk on top of the trees when really they're not on top of the trees.
Yeah, it was a bitch trying to figure out what the right level of opacity would be, so that it wouldn't be too confusing. Yeah, it was a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, I don't actually know how to do that. I've never had to.
Do you have like legit Photoshop, or do you use some other program when you're manipulating images?
I have legit Photoshop.
So, there's a way of adjusting the transparency, and you can do layers to have certain parts more or less transparent.
Yeah, I mean, now that I've seen it, I'm sure I can figure out how to do it from inside the program. Just never, it never really, I've certainly like erased backgrounds and things like that. And I know like at the fringes of images, you can make things. It never occurred to me to do a larger area that was sort of transparent. So that I liked a lot. The fight overall was fine. There was still that sort of problem of it's hard to plan out your actions when the situation keeps changing right up to the moment it's your turn.
Yeah.
That's why I said she moves around too much.
I mean, she set up the terrain specifically in her favor.
Sure.
So.
Sure. I mean, this isn't even, I suspect this is just a problem of, in part, or at least the delays are partly a problem of the fact that we're just so high level. Like it was certainly faster than last time. And I think that's because we didn't really have our minions doing anything. So the turn didn't consist of our turns plus the minions' turns.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, there was still a little bit of confusion. My character is actually relatively simple in terms of what he's going to do. Is he going to attack? What is he going to attack? Those are really the decisions I had to make. But I understand with like spellcasters and everything else, you've got so many more options.
Yeah, it does get more complicated then. So I expected you guys to do more trying to destroying the mushrooms. I thought Colmar might continue using Fireball, and that Martha, once you discovered that you could dissolve 10-foot cubes, I thought that you might start poking holes in it to release some sunlight down.
Well, I mean, I was gonna do that until like the queen wasn't actually hiding in the mushrooms. Like I thought the queen was hiding under the mushrooms, in which case I would have done that to like bring her out and prevent her from disappearing.
We did not get to properly understand her interactions with the mushroom.
I gathered that
fuck
it was
just kill this bitch.
Yeah, I gathered that she was sort of hiding in the shadows that were created under the mushrooms. In part, it was I didn't really get the sense like of how much. It didn't seem to me like Colmar's Fireball did a lot of damage. So I guess if it really did do a sizable enough amount that like a second Fireball might have destroyed a mushroom, I didn't get that impression from it. So it kind of felt like taking entire rounds to shoot off fireballs just to kill the mushroom might be less effective than just directly trying to hit her. Not that, I mean, I mostly do piercing damage. There wasn't really a whole lot I could do against a mushroom. So it wasn't my thing. But if I had been a spellcaster, I still might have favored maybe we can just bring her down tactics over maybe I'm wasting my time attacking this mushroom. I don't really know. Like even 10 feet, if the mushroom's 100 feet tall, a 10-foot cube, it would take a long time probably to take a mushroom down with that.
Right, but so with what Martha was doing, holes could be poked so that if the queen had been underneath those, it would have affected her powers. And also Colmar shot the stalk. Mm-hmm. Nobody tried shooting a fireball or equivalent at like the top of the mushroom where it was thinner. Martha,
too much time spent right there already. Like she did way too much damage for us to fuck with the mushrooms too much.
Right, and I felt like Martha, he had kind of almost wasted around. I shouldn't say wasted, but it felt a little bit like wasted. Trying to light the mushroom up, and then that didn't work.
I was trying to kind of find a balance of, well, this isn't really working, but if you did something bigger, more than a cantrip and some oil, maybe. So maybe that was lost. Me.
Yeah, I still am confused. I still don't get like the actual physics of these mushrooms. Like I just don't understand it. I don't understand how the queen can hide under them. Or
Because they're okay. So think of them as giant umbrellas.
No, I know. So is the stalk really like?
No, the
straight
stalk is the
up,
part in
down?
the middle.
Yeah.
The
so
translucent part is the part that umbrella's out.
translucent part.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean this is the translucent part? Like
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
Because here, watch. When I
this
right
is
here?
the translucent part.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
so you know what? I only thought when I was talking, I thought about this. I was only looking at like this internal thing. I didn't realize
Yep.
this large thing was the mushroom.
yeah, because watch this. Do you see that?
See, I thought that was just weird terrain. I didn't know that was a mushroom.
Yeah. See,
Yeah,
well, I mean that's why it
central-
started out without the mushrooms. There, they were gone, and then the queen put them up.
See, I didn't. I thought those were just like weird rocks, and like they were like it was. We didn't see this map for that long, so it wasn't like we were so accustomed to it, at least tonight, that like once after like 10 minutes looking at these mushrooms, these translucent mushrooms, that it was fairly obvious that just like became the map. So
Nice.
I guess that really threw me off. That now was just cleared up.
it did occur to me that if Marthel had been on the ground and had attacked the stalk from the outside, he might be able to make a big enough hole to knock the mushroom over. But I know my character never even saw him attack it with the dagger to begin with. So I wasn't going to blurt that out. But now I see he didn't understand what the mushroom really was. He was just looking at the stalk, thinking the stalk was the whole mushroom.
Yeah, I thought it was like the stalk was the mushroom, and there was like a 5-foot radius that was like the mushroom top. And I was like,
Oh.
I mean, I would say I did understand from the beginning, that the whole area, including the translucent part, was the mushroom. So there was a difference of interpretation between us. So I guess that could have been explained more clearly.
Yeah, my bad.
That's why I understood that she was hiding in the shadow created by that. That, and actually I might not have put that together, except that you mentioned that she had some sort of connection to the shadow, which made sense in the light of the fact that she's working for Umberos. But if you hadn't mentioned that, maybe I wouldn't have put that together, that she just has an ability.
And you did mention it, so then you said she was here, and then here. And then I was confused because I didn't think that was part of the mushroom. So then I'm like, well, maybe she's just harnessing the power of the mushrooms nearby, and she can channel them to kind of misty step around essentially.
Mm.
So it's well, it's a boss fight, so that's feasible.
Mini boss. It's a mini boss. Would you guys like to see her stats?
Sure.
Or would you like to wait until after all of it?
I mean,
I would probably rather wait.
I mean, if you're going to be using any of her things.
Oh no!
Again,
none of the abilities get repeated for anything coming up.
Sweet, no 90-foot acid killing.
But I guess it does kind of set an expectation for where the power level is. So maybe yeah, I'll hold off. But once you guys finish the game,
you haven't been keeping up that rogues gallery of defeated monsters on your.
No. No, I have not.
You should go back when we're done with the campaign. Update it for everyone who's ever been killed.
I do have most of their stats. I just haven't posted them.
Kip, Sunny, Petrie.
Yeah, starting with them.
I do have the stats for Fenris when you guys encountered him.
I don't even remember what that thing was that we were fighting at first that sucked us into the pit where Fenris was.
Yeah, it was all Fenris.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. I
yeah.
assumed it was like some Godzilla-like monster outside, and we were just like in its magical stomach.
Yeah, well, see, the way that it worked was Umberos kind of formed this thing to encompass Fenris. So it was like, yeah, it was like a kaiju thing, but he was just stuck inside of it. So it was like a flesh mech.
It sounds wrong.
Yeah, at least
All
Kip
right.
didn't get absorbed by Umbros.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
Yeah, no kidding.
There's not much left of Kip or Sunny. I mean, that acid, who knows? It might even burned away their souls.
I was right about to animate Dead with Sunny, but denied.
The body of the queen is relatively intact.
Dibs.
Martha would be like, well, it's all yours. The raise the dead trick was only a one-time thing.
I mean, what could we do? What if we both did animate Dead on the Queen? Could we both empower it? Let's do some fun.
It is gargantuan. You could each get half.
I'll just take the tail. I'll let you control its acid.
If that's something that you guys are interested in, I'll work out some details and make some suggestions on how it could work.
Use a spell slot for that.
All right.
Have a good night, guys.
All right. 2 weeks.
Yep.
See you guys.
Talk to you later.
Later.
All right.